Thank you, everybody. Good morning. It's such a
Hi.
pleasure to be with you all again. So the last time I was here at Circle of Miracles and I did my talk, um, it's been a while. So I'm so glad to be back again. I am here today to share my experience as a conscious, evolving being. And the title of my talk today is The Universe is Listening. The universe is listening. The last time I had the pleasure of speaking here at Circle of Miracles, I shared how meditation helped me redirect my thoughts of facing bankruptcy through a challenging rehab that we had going to the possibility of going to Egypt through visualization. And I remember that when I was even thinking about going to Egypt, all the things that was going to take place in Egypt, that once I went there, my life was going to change. My life was not going to be the same. So it got to be a thing of from wanting to go to Egypt to having to go to Egypt. Because if I didn't go, I just felt like nothing was going to change for me. My life was going to probably more so spiral out of control. So I really felt that infinite intelligence wanted to show me something to broaden my awareness and understanding of him. So when I was in Egypt, walking among the pyramids, touring the temples, and as I sailed over the Nile River in the hot air balloon, I just had this sensation of the sweetness of life, how good life really is, and how blessed I was to be a girl from Patterson, from Patterson that saw a different way of life, a different way of understanding. Now being able to to just be in the feeling, in the flow of the energy of good, of the things that I want to do, just feeling that God is working in me and through me. So I felt that the divine spirit was sharing something in me that I have not really fully comprehended yet because my life has continued to evolve. It's just moving in a direction that makes me feel like the best is still yet to come. So since my return from Egypt, excuse me, since my return from Egypt, I have more of a connection with the divine spirit within me. I hear from God like I've never heard from God before. I spend a lot of time meditating. And I rely on it to guide me through my daily affairs. So whatever comes up, I go into meditation to get my answers so I can know how I need to respond. So the more peace I make in the decisions that I have more peace in the decisions I make now, and I have more confidence in who I am. Like at one time, I used to call everybody to get their input on what I should do, how I should handle certain things. But what I've learned is they don't, even though sometimes people might have the best for me, but they don't always know what I should do in my situation. Spirit knows that. So I'm learning to rely on the spirit within me to give me the answers of what I should do, what I need to do. So, case in point, in 2019, I needed a new car. So I visualized the color, make, and model of my car. So from my kitchen is my driveway. So I'm always looking into my driveway and I can actually see the color of the car. The car that I'm visioning for actually parked in my driveway. And the lights in place saying I am. So I didn't give too much thought about how I was going to pay for the car. So when I had my last deal, my real estate deal, I decided I'm going to go and look for the car. So me and my husband and I, we went out to look for the car. And then when I found the car I wanted, the Holy Spirit says to me, pay for the car in full. So through faith, I did that. I paid for the car in full. So then wisdom says to me, take the rest of that money from your last deal and pay off all your debt. So in faith, I did just that. I paid off all my debt. So, so I paid off all my debt. So even though it is exhausted, most of my cash at the time, I did just that. Then Winston told me to pay my debt. I did that. So after long, so not long after that, 2019, as you know, COVID-19 hit, and it hit a lot of us pretty hard. And I really didn't see that coming. So now that I bought my car, paid off on my debt. Now here it is. I can't go out. We can't go to work. We all in lockdown because of COVID-19, the virus. So the world kind of went to panic mode, and I admit it, so did I. I was kind of afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no money. They saying we can't go out to work. We can't even talk to each other. Everything was kind of on lockdown. So being I'm a real estate agent, and we were advised to file for unemployment because we could not leave the house. And I have already spent all my last earnings. So okay, I would admit it. I was afraid. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills, to pay my mortgage. And I definitely was afraid of, catching the virus. So I felt like I was living under a cloud of doom. This gloomy presence that was just with me, even though I tried to act like I was happy, act like it wasn't bothering me, until I broke that cycle. So I went back to my spiritual tools that I know worked on previous occasions. So I did a spiritual cleansing throughout my house. And this time I even went outside of my house because I really needed to change the energy, to change how I was thinking about things. So I went into meditation with one question on my mind: infinite intelligence. What am I to do now? What am I to do now? I came out of that meditation with a newfound peace. I didn't have a clear answer, but I know the universe heard me because an affirmation was dropped into my spirit. And I wrote it down, and to this day, I refer back to it every now and then. And it says, my gift, talent, and skills always make room for me. It provides me the cash flow and the resources to live my luxurious lifestyle, even while I'm sleeping. And I repeated that affirmation daily. I was spiritually guided not to focus on the external conditions of what was going on and what everybody, well, we only could talk to people on the phone, and everybody had a story of fear and gloom to share. So I had to refocus my attention on what's possible, what's God saying to me. So Tony Robbins says, focus goes where energy flows. So with me knowing that, I really had to start paying attention to how I think about things, how I was thinking about COVID-19 and not being able to go to work, not being able to go outside. Everything was you can't, at that particular time. So Spirit heard my plea and the universe met my needs. So I started getting calls from investors to put offers in our properties, sight unseen. And that never happened before. You just putting offers out there, without even going to the property. But investors were smart enough to know this is the time for them to reap the rewards of, competition, being able to buy properties. So I never missed the mortgage payments. And a few weeks later, service workers was allowed to go back to work under very strict safety guidelines. Then the interest rates dropped to an all-time low, and the real estate market really skyrocketed. So that was great. So I have made more money during COVID-19 than I made the prior year. So I learned to trust source within me and only speak the desired outcome into the universe, no matter what the outside conditions look like. And that wasn't an easy thing to do. And that's, excuse me. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's how come I've learned some of the things that I want and I desire to keep to myself. Because when you speak it outside, it can look foolish to other people, because people see what they see. But when you get in alignment with the Spirit of God within me, for me, I know what I know. I may not be able to explain to you how it's going to happen, how it's going to work, but I just know it's going to work out to my good. So I know Spirit is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. The same Spirit that moves and has its being with me is the same Spirit I refer to as I speak about universal consciousness, which is part of the title of my talk, Universal Consciousness. The universe is listening. Because it is aware, alive, and conscious of itself and everything within it, including me. It only gives back to me what I project into it, which includes, excuse me, it only gives to me what I project back into it by what I think, say, and feel. Let's just take a breath right there. Let's just take a healing breath. I am really beginning to understand how my life works. How my life works. There are universal laws that govern everything in the universe. So I created the design, universal consciousness. The universe is listening. I come to realize that the universe is conscious and is vibrating and pulsating with infinite possibilities. It benefits me to know how to interact with it. Whatever I think, say, or do that is attached to an emotion sets laws in motion, and I get to experience whatever I'm saying or thinking or inputting into the universe. This is why Mike Dooley says, thoughts are things. Because a thought is a unit of energy, and it takes on a life of its own once it's put out there, and it goes out to the universe, and it brings back to me whatever the energy level it is on. When it is set in motion, it has no choice but to deliver back as an experience or a manifestation of this kind, because that's how the law works. In 2023, the interest rates went up and the market slowed down, and the prices of everything in commerce has skyrocketed. But because I was spiritually guided, I trusted the universe. So my debts was paid off and I was financially stable. It is something very freeing about not having a mountain of debt overhead. Like I previously said, I have been hearing from source like never before. I have written several talks, facilitated 3 workshops that I created and 6 weeks classes. If I had to worry about where my next check was coming from, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I really, really enjoy doing. Because I have overcome so many challenges in my past, I know that the universe always works everything out to my good. So I'm learning to listen to the spirit and trust the process. Everything is not always what it seems. And one of the things that I'm even learning to do is even at work, even in my marriage, I don't have the luxury of just getting upset and just saying anything I want to say out of anger or frustration, because the universe only knows the feelings and the things that I'm saying out into it. And that's what returns back to me. So I'll always take time to just think about what it is that I want to convey, the desired outcome that I want before I speak. So sometimes things might come up where I just stay quiet and I ask God to show me how to work with this, to make sure I get into alignment of the desired outcome that I want to experience. So I have just facilitated a 6-week class, The Science of Getting Rich, based on Wallace D. Waddell's book. And there was a phrase that he often repeated. And he said, you have to do things in a certain way. You have to do things in a certain way. And I couldn't reiterate that enough to the class because you have to live your life in the energy or the mindset of what you want to become, of what you want to become. So in closing, I want to leave you with this. I love the life I live, and I live the life I love, because as good as life is right now, the best is always on the rise.